Hi, Abdul. Hope you're doing well. Hi, day worker. We're waiting 2 minutes to see if some more people come in. Hi, Chuck. Another day with Chuck. Hey, Todd. I think we've seen in the last live session. Hey, Swapter. Nice to meet you. So maybe we wait maybe 1 more minute and we go. Hi, Chris. Okay, we are ready to go, and let's go. So thanks for everybody for coming along to that session where we are going to do a live expression of Core Lightning, the last release that happened, version 23.08. We have a guest, Vincenzo Palazzo. How are you doing, Vincenzo?
Hi, thanks for having me. All good.
Cool. So Vincenzo is a Core Lightning core contributor, and I really want to learn from him today. And let me describe how we are going to do that session of 1 hour and a half. So the goal is to really see how to use the software and how to use the new features or the updated features. The goal being to, we are going to see there, so maybe it's to how to say that, to complement the presentation that already have done by Rusty, Alex, and Shana in that Twitter live session, so Twitter space. Also, there are 3 blog posts from Rusty describing how what there is in that release. So the one, this one, all of those links will be on lnroom.live. The sooner the better, with the transcript of that session. So the goal is really to run the software as a user and to see how to make the thing works. So we are going to talk about setconfig, listconfig, what has changed in experimental features at runtime. Splicing. So if we are lucky, we are going to make one splice in. Everything that we are going to do, as usual, we'll do it on rate test. Taproot, so they have been the addresses P2R have been implemented in call lightning for that release. Renepay, and also the fact that we can do a self-payment. It wasn't possible to put everything in that presentation because that release is huge. So one of the things that we are not going to talk today is a plugin implemented by Shana, so CLN REST, and also the work that this needed on the rune system to work flawlessly. So this is something that we are going to do in 2 weeks, and that it will be announced in a few days. So before we start, so I will ask some questions to Vincenzo, and for each part of the presentation, we will see if Vincenzo can told us some of the things, and just after each summaries, if we can say like that, this will be a live demo, and we are going to run the software. So ready, Vincenzo? So
Yep.
First question that I have, it was when did you started to contribute to Core Lightning?
Oh, this is a good question. I started in the end of 2019.
Okay.
But I started for building a Java library, and then I move on. I found some bugs. I patched these bugs, and then I never stopped to push code inside Core Lightning.
Okay, cool. So 4 years ago, so you start to know well the software.
Yeah, quite well. But some parts for me are taken like a black box. Like I don't like a lot of the wallet, so I take the wallet like a black box. Okay, it works this way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Maybe it can be interesting for some of those attendees or maybe watching after. If you can give some advice on how someone can start contributing to CLN. I mean, there's no best answer, but what would be the path to contribute?
It depends from the person that won't start from the background. I was quite familiar with C, but not on the C that is in Core Lightning, right? Because Core Lightning use the allocator, secant, that is a Rusty library. So I started from building tools for Core Lightning. Then I found some bugs, and I contribute back. And when you contribute back, usually this happens always to me. You find some good, some other stuff that you want to do, right? In Core Lightning, and you implement it, push the code inside inside Git, and then open up a pull request. Usually the patches discussed and go merge, get merged. Otherwise, no. But I think this is the best way that you can do. I know that some person that I do mentoring in the summer of Bitcoin. Some person are scared from C. Don't be shy. I think C is a little bit difficult, but Core Lightning make a little bit better than usual C, I think. So maybe start to building tools, and then contributing with what do you like inside the repository. On inside the implementation is the best way to contribute back. The easy way, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if the easier, but it's an easy way to contribute in the repository.
Okay, cool. So with the plugin system, there's also some doors to enter with someone that like another language before contributing in C. So it's a good.
I start with Java. So Java is it was a very difficult language to put inside Core Lightning, but one of my plugins that I use for the Bitcoin backend on my cloud machine is written in Kotlin. So it's still running my library under the hood in some plugins. So the plugin system is super friendly when you understand how it works, because you take your languages and start to build tool for Core Lightning. There are people that write plugin in Haskell, so I think is quite familiar.
Yes. So thank you for those explanations. So now let's talk a little bit more at that release. So two more questions before we jump into setconfig. What was the most exciting feature or bug fix or anything on the release at 23.08?
I will tell my best feature is the setconfig. But I think one of the really important feature is splicing. We start to in general for the Lightning network in general is splicing, and also a little bit the initial taproot support, because we'll implement some protocol improvement. So when we improve the protocol, it's always good. But my personal feature is the setconfig.
Ah, great. And this is the first one we are going to talk about. So just before you continue talking about setconfig, last question. And what was the most challenging maybe for you or for the team to get things in that release? If there is something, maybe everything was easy. I don't know.
I will tell you the most difficult to review from my side was splicing. Because I was not quite familiar with the proposal, and I didn't help much on review splicing, because splicing touched a lot of part of the code, touched the wallet, how you manage the transaction, and all this kind of stuff. But another, I think, pretty difficult feature to do was the experimental feature at runtime, because you will find something. Because it's difficult right now with the previous version of Core Lightning. When you want something experimental, you need to compile these and run it. Not compile. Run Lightning D with this feature enabled. Now you are able to say, okay, now I want this at runtime, and this is very important, because there are some tool like LN Protest that I'm the maintainer that avoid to restart the node to run this experimental feature, and this is a very huge performance improvement.
Cool, but cool. So a lot of things really interesting, and it seems that those are the features that are in order in that presentation. So let's okay, I'll let you present in a few words setconfig, and we will see how to use it in a few minutes. Let's go. So setconfig, what maybe I can do that. So what can you tell us about setconfig? What was it is cool for you?
Oh yeah, setconfig is a new RPC method that allows to modify the Core Lightning configuration at runtime. As maybe everyone is familiar to, Core Lightning have a config file where you say, hey, I want this field that is equal to this value. And also the plugin can have configuration, right? So this is my favorite RPC command because I am building a coffee plugin manager for Core Lightning, and you can with this RPC you can have a plugin manager that asks to the user what is the value that you want for this configuration. So you have a very interactive way to do this this setup of Lightning D at runtime with an external tool. And also, if I remember correctly, setconfig modify also the configuration file. So it's perfect for me, right? You know, now I love this feature.
Okay, so you love that feature, and we are going to love it all of us. So let's see how it works. So we start with that terminal, and we have some directories, CLN Scratch, we don't care, but we have Lightning, which is a Lightning repository, and those nodes. And now we are going to start Lightning, so contrib startup. We are going to start, we sourced that script that is inside the Lightning repository, and with that script, we have some helper commands that help us to run Core Lightning node on Richter test on our machine. And the first thing that we do is to start with that command. We start to node on Richter test. So we are going to see that working. So the Bitcoin wallet is named default. We have those aliases for the node 1, the node 2, and Bitcoin CLI running on the Richter test. So maybe we can look so that we are all okay with those things. So this is the aliases for L1 CLI, which is Lightning CLI -CLI with a temporary directory for that node. So what also maybe to check that I am running the good version, and maybe we can go to temporary L1 Richter test and see what you were talking about. So the config file. So here we are on Richter test. We have the local host, and also we have set allow deprecated -IPs to false. And if we want to change how the software is running with some of not those configurations specifically, but with other specific configuration that are dynamic, they are not all dynamic. We'll see a little bit later. We would have before to stop the node, add something here, and restart the node. So, but now we don't need for some of them to do that. And if plugin set specify to Lightning D that their options are dynamic, they can use setconfig to be to set them at runtime. So let's go back to our terminal, and maybe we would like to set what, not maybe, setconfig. So mean capacity SAT is something that we can set. So let's go into Lightning config. So I will jump to the Lightning D config to the main page. So this is something that you can do. Sorry. So kill this code. So sorry for that. If we okay. So in you can do that at the command line or in the documentation online. So this is the Lightning D config things. And if we look for dynamic, we'll see where are the mean capacity SAT, which is what we authorized, the minimal value authorized to open a channel with us is dynamic, so we can change it, and this we are going to do it right now. And also this has been added to the auto clean plugin. So maybe if we dynamic, so there are some of the all of those options can be set at runtime. So let's see for that one, which is we have it here. So minstat. So how to do that? So L1 CLI set config, and we pass it the configuration that we want to change. So that one is that one, and maybe we want it to be at 2000. So sometime I start, okay, I start by making the first command line with errors, but after it things goes well. So this gives us back the information that we've changed. We see that this is something that is dynamic. We see also where it has been added. So in the source, we are going to look at that. So even if we do it dynamically, this is also written on the appropriate config files. And if we add before something already set, this will comment out the previous setting and change it. So maybe we can go to this and to look at that file. And here we are. This is the new file that is for Richter S for the node L1. And we've changed the minimum capacity set for the invoice. So this is how we can use setconfig. So maybe we could do that for let's see another one. So auto clean. So for the plugin auto clean that can clean some invoices that timed out. Other thing that I don't know, but this is something that we can change. So perform a search for things to clean every some number of seconds. Let's do it again, because the more we do, the more we keep it. So set config, we want this one auto clean, and maybe if we want something that every 10 seconds, we have that, and also this has been added, and we can check the config file with the date inserted by setconfig. So cool new features that has been added. Some options that are dynamic can be set at runtime. And now we are going to see how to list those things, but for those that write plugin right now, so let's jump into. So I jump into the a day in the life of a plugin. So this is a documentation that you can find in the online, but also in the repository. So I am in the repository, and at the first time, quickly, when we start a plugin, that is a sub process of Lightning D that add feature to Lightning D, and that talk to each other via pipes, and they communicate with JSON RPC. And the first two methods are the get manifest, the init, and after do the work. And when we define an option, if we want it to be dynamic, so to be able to be set by setconfig, we just have to tell it to Lightning D with that field dynamic. So generally it's false, but now we can set it to true. So I will check if we have some question, and we are going to continue with listconfig. Okay, so Daywaker, can I make config option of my own plugin dynamic yet? So I think that this is just what I've shown. So it seems to be the case. So I will intend to answer by yes. So there are two things. The plugins can be dynamic in the sense that they can be started dynamically. So this is already something that we have, but now this is something else, which is for each option that we define. That before we had to do it at startup time. So maybe we can pull up this and where are they? I think it is this one. Okay, so here you can see this was in one of the lives. It was a way to start the plugin. So we have that command at that place where we start the plugin, subcommand start, plugin, we pass it the path, and after we have a key pair, key value pair that was to add those options when we start the plugin. The plugin, this one is dynamic as we are starting it when Lightning D is already running, but when we were started, full ops couldn't be changed. But now it seems to be something possible. I didn't try it, but this is what tell us. See, it's possible because AutoClean is a plugin, and I've seen that done by the plugin AutoClean in the code. So I hope this answers the question, and we move on. We're going to do the JQ one-liner just after, but maybe Vincenzo, you can talk about listconfig if you want, because it's really related to the setconfig, and we are going to see just after how to list the dynamic option with listconfigs.
Listconfigs is a very important command because a plugin have no access to the config. Or an easy way to access to the config. You can, if you have a way to parse the config file, right? But this is a mess. So the plugin sometimes they want to know if you set a server port, right? The gRPC plugin working this way, and like this way. The gRPC plugin is a little bit different. I think I didn't remember the code, but anyway, if you want to know if there is some configuration set inside the config file, and this configuration is not related to the plugin itself, the listconfig is the only method that you have to check if this what is the value of this configuration, right? So
cool. So yeah. There has been a lot of works on this release for listconfigs that has been changed a little bit, and we are going to check that. So where before we've seen those AutoClean and min capacity SAT that we've changed, and we can do L1 CLI if we want to list all this configs with an S, and JQ is just to have some color. We almost don't care. So we see all the configs that are already there, and we can see if they are, for instance, AutoClean is dynamic. If this is a plugin, where is the path to the binary or the script, the source, if it's come from the source files, what the source. This one is default, and this is in the code of Lightning Diff in code Lightning, if I'm not wrong. This one has been set at command line. What we can see? So there are a lot of information that we might need as as Vincenzo was telling to us. So this is cool that we don't have to pass anything to look for stuff. They are there. We can query, send an RPC command, and we have it. Just something funny. I love. Maybe you too. I love JQ. It's a declarative way of doing. I don't know if it's declarative, but you do some stuff and that and it's. I love it. Anyway, so
because he make the response with the syntax, and it's nice to parse it.
Yes, and we can really query the part of the data we are interested in when there are JSON data. So we have one field which is config. This is pipe. So we are going to have all the elements that we've seen, all the option, and with the dot dynamic. This syntax here is to have we look for any leaf which is dynamic. If we have it, the filter selects that last thing, that last part of the JSON that add it, and the map is to apply those for every result that comes from config. So if it works well, we've listed right now the two dynamic option that we have listed, and one that we've changed. And maybe let's just play a little bit. Let's change this one, okay, and list again, and we see that that has been changed. We see the value here. So that's it for where are we? So we are there. So setconfig, listconfig. Maybe we check if we have question. Chris Gida, yes, cool. So we are on fire. I will put also a fire. Don't let me the fire. I want the fire too. Okay, so maybe this one. Okay, so we continue, and Vincenzo, let's go for you with experimental features at runtime. You told about that a little bit at the beginning, but it seems to be really helpful to not have to recompile every time. So tell us what is the game changing with that.
Before this release, if I remember correctly, to enable an experimental filter, you need to run configure, like the command that you are highlighting right now, and the compiler that add the code of the experimental filter for us, right? And this was a little bit a pain from the user point of view, because if you want to try to use something new for just one time, you need to recompile core Lightning. That is not a trivial stuff if you are on Raspberry Pi, right? On Raspberry Pi 2 or 3, this can take 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Okay.
And so it's not user friendly. And then I have my core Lightning on a Raspberry Pi 0, so it's not something that I was loving, this recompiling to enable experimental filter. And now we are able to say, okay, now I want this filter at runtime when we run Lightning D, if I am not mistaken, because I didn't test it yet.
Okay, so yes, follow.
No, yeah. This make say before. This make some user some usage of. For instance, I use a lot in this feature. I will use a lot this feature in integration testing with core Lightning, because you don't need. You need to specify only an experimental feature if you want at when you are running Lightning D. or with LN protest, for instance. I don't need anymore to restart, to recompile Core Lightning. Yeah, I think this is nice.
Okay, so this is helpful, nice. This has been, I think, some or a lot of work to be able to do it in the correct way. So for those who never compiled, we are not going to compile it completely. No, we are not going to compile it, but let's go to the Lightning directory. And I'm check out in the 23.08, and the thing is that we would have to run .configure to have the configuration that we want, and then make, and we can see maybe the help. So now these are the thing that we can enable or disable. And if we want to compile, we would have to configure it. So I just do it so that we see what we would have to do to do other things. So and now we could compile it running make and it full compile Lightning CLN. And if so, normally we are running that software with no experimental option. So I mean before, and if we would have wanted to do that in another way, we would have needed to run this, compile again, install it in the system, and do it. And as was telling us Vincenzo, this is not. This might take some time for some people, and if we just want to try one thing, this is not the best way. And right now, thanks to experimental features runtime enable, we are going to enable experimental splicing. So maybe we go back to the main page of. So you can see at the bottom, the main page of Lightning config. So this is also something that there is in the documentation online, but I prefer to do it there. And we have the experimental option here. So we have onion message, experimental offer, and you can check what is the one that you want experimental dual fund. And we are now going to focus on experimental splicing, and I hope we will make a splice in Richter S. So, and see, this is a good way to see how to say to see how we can enable at runtime those experimental features. And before I give back the mic to Vincenzo, we are going to use that function that comes from the startup Richter S script that we've sourced before. As it takes a little bit of time, I run it right now, and it will fund the default Bitcoin wallet, and also make a channel, open a channel between the node L1 and the node L2 with 1 million sat, and we are going to change the size of that channel with experimental splicing. So this is for you, Vincenzo. So you have something to tell us about these big things.
Yeah, maybe I can talk a little bit about how to what splicing enabled for me. I think enables something that I am not aware of, but I am running a Lightning node, right, on mainnet. And I don't have the full liquidity on the fly, right? When I have some Bitcoin, I put on my node and then I open the channel. What this feature enabled, the current status before splicing was that each time you have more funds, you need to open a new channel, right? So if you have 1 Bitcoin, you need to open a couple of channels. If you have 0.01 Bitcoin, you need to open a new channel. splicing enabled that when you have these new funds coming on chain, you can say, okay, now I use these funds to splice a previous channel that I have already, right? In this way, you can add funds and increase the maximum capacity of the channel at runtime. This is the feature of the runtime, right? Without opening a new channel, right? Or closing the previous one. So you can say, okay, this channel is active, is well funded, but I want to add more on this channel. And with Splice, you can do that. You take an on-chain transaction and you add this on-chain transaction in the channel capacity. This is roughly what is for me splicing. I think for other people it is something more. And I guess also Phoenix Wallet is using this feature to enable the single balance in a wallet, right? Because we always talk about on-chain and off-chain wallet, off-chain balance. But with this feature, you improve also the wallet. You say, okay, there is no anymore on-chain and off-chain, but there is a single balance. And each on-chain money transaction that I receive, I will splice in the current channel that I had. So.
Okay, this is really cool, and there are two. If you want to know more about maybe I don't know if you know that website. So this is a website of Dustin Damon, which work on the specification and also the implementation on CLN of that features. And it had a lot of information here about splicing. And if you like video, I like videos. So there, I think 6 videos where it talk about splicing. There are history of splicings. If you prefer article, there are some article. And maybe start it with splicing explained. And okay, so if you didn't know about that website and you want to know more, there are this one. And if you want to, this hadn't been merged into the bolts, the splicing specification that is still in the discussion, and you can find it. This is pull request 863. So if you want to know more to read where this enter on anything, it enters in the bolt 2 that is about a channel, but I'm not quite sure. But yes, so you have more information if you want to know more. And now let's check if we have some question. And we don't have question. If you have any question now, you can ask at any moment. We'll see if we have some new people. So hi, Nuno, Luck, G. Recoin, Jarek, Alonso, Fashkapian, and Harsh. I think I didn't salute you so far. So happy to see you there. So now, lot of talking. Let's do a splicing. So splicing involves, so let's jump to splice _init, the man page. We need to ensure that we are in the experimental splicing. We are going to see how to do that right after. And we can read here that this is low level RPC command to do splicing. So this is maybe I imagine that calling that low level is because maybe after there were some more nice way to do it in one go. I'm not sure, but low level, you know what that mean. I think in software it's that we are doing stuff splicing it. So to do that, we to do a splice in the core Lightning right now, we have to use 3 commands. splice init, splice update, and splice signed that are the new command added with the splice. We are going to use also fund PSBTs, so PSBTs for partial signed Bitcoin transaction, and also at some point we need to sign that partial signed Bitcoin transaction, so PSBT. And to me, I read a bit of the code and the proposed things, but I will say it's magic for me. So I will say, we are doing some magic, and we get a PSBT, and at the end, with that PSBT that we add and that we signed with splice signed, this is sent to the Bitcoin mempool. And after 6 confirmation that we are going to run, because we run on the test, we will see our splice the increase of our channel, and done with only 1 transaction and not 2 if we had to close the channel and open a new one. So this is the game changing. So let's look at how does it look. That's what we are going to do really at the command line, so that I hope I won't lost you, because the PSBT are huge, so they take a lot of place in the files. But anyway, this is the step we have to do to do a splicing. So we are going to augment of 100,000 SAT or channel between the node 1 and the node 2, and this is the node 1 that initiate the channel, the splicing. So we are going to list the fund to get the channel ID. Then we are going to fund a PSBT where we start with 100. Sorry, so I can't do it with my level of English, but you see that it's 110,000. So we have a buffer for the fee. I think, I'm not sure, but it seems if we don't put it, it doesn't work. So we found that PSBT with the fund of our node. The fee rate, we set it to slow. Start weight. So maybe, do you know, Vincenzo, because I don't know what is the start weight option in the fund PSBT command. Do you know?
I think it'd be something with fee, but no, I don't. Sorry.
Okay. So I use the magic number 166. Why? Because this is in one of the tests of splicing in Core Lightning. So I use that one, and excess as a change equal true is to the excess of coin will go back to our wallet. So this function, we are going to use it as is, give us back a PSBT. So PSBT 0, which is the initial PSBT that we use with the splice init. So then we run splice init command. We have to give it the channel we want to change. The relative amount, which is 100,000 that we want to augment. And if we pass it a negative number, I didn't try, but this is what tells us the documentation, the man page. We will do the splice out, and we pass it the initial PSBT that we got from the first fund PSBT. Let's continue. So this gives us 1 PSBT magic from Core Lightning. But at that point, it seems that there is no communication with the node L2, and we need an update from the node L2. Still, we use splice update with the same channel ID that we want to modify, and we pass it the PSBT. So this is why maybe it's called low level, because we have a lot of stuff to do, and at the command line, it's not maybe not the best way, but it's a good way to understand what we are doing, but programmatically it will be easier. At this point, we receive something from the other node, and if we have a PSBT that we are going to sign just after PSBT_2, if we don't have commitments secured to true, we have to rerun that command until we get that to be true. In our case, it seems to be true, so we'll see. And then we have that PSBT from the node 2. So with magic of the protocol and the core lightning, we sign that PSBT that we have had, and we have the last PSBT that we are going to pass to splice sign. So we can see that, and after we are going to look at some of the things in the mempool and see how if it did really work. But we can see, so this is except for the first splice underscore command. So we pass a channel ID on the PSBT that come from the previous one. Just the first splice in it takes the relative amount. Okay, so are we ready to do it? So let's go back here, and maybe there are, now we are not L1 CLI. So if we try to do it right away, we go into a wall because we are not running experimental splicing. So let's list configs, and if we pass the name of the config that we want to know, so this is experimental splicing. Please some color, and we see is it set? So the answer is false. So we thanks to the runtime way of setting experimental splicing, we can do it that way, but do not merge it with the option that can be done at runtime. We have to stop the node, change experimental splicing. As we can see, we don't have a field that say dynamically we can change this. So we are going to enable that. But maybe one thing we can do before is list L1 CLI and list, is it a list fund or no, list, I think it's list peers I want to do. Yes, this is a list peers. So I wanted just to show you the feature that our peers gives us, that it allows. This feature, those features bits will change when we are going to enable in the node L1 and in the node L2 experimental splicing. So yes, this is what I wanted to show, and maybe we can do list font to see where we are. So this is a channel that we funded before with 1 million sats from our side, the node L1. So now, okay, L1 CLI, we stop L1 CLI first, alias, because no, alias L1 CLI, and now we can stop that node CLI. We stop the node, so it is stopped, and we restart it with, so that command that we modify a little bit. So this is not lightning-CLI, but lightning D. We go at the end, so we target that the node L1 and the directory, and now this is where we pass experimental splicing, and please, we want this in daemon. So this should work. So it seems to, does it work or not? maybe we can just do that. L1 CLI get info. Yes, so this is working, and we can see our features. Okay, so this is what oh, there are two. Well, I wouldn't be able to. Vincenzo, do you know the difference in our features between init and the node?
I guess no, I don't remember what is the difference between the two. But the init, I guess, because it's in the init message, I need to check the docs. Let me check. Is the get info?
I continue, and if after when we finish the splice, if we have an answer, you have an answer, we check that. But anyway, we've changed that. So the feature changed. So what we are going to advertise to other node will be with splicing enabled, and let's go to listconfigs at configs, and we have this one, and now we can check that this is true. So phenomenal, amazing. So we don't have to recompile, and now the node is running with splicing enable, and we are going to be able to do that. This can be done with dual funding, and no need to recompile, and this is something new in 23.08. Now, we did that at the command line, and we see source command line. Let's stop the node L2. So we stop the node L2, and we are going to do it differently that time, which is okay. And maybe we want L2 rec test config to see the two ways of doing it. So now we can put experimental splicing. So we put it here with nothing because it takes no value. If it is here, it's true. I think. Oh, right now I don't. I'm not sure, but I think yes. Yeah. Let's try this, and if it doesn't work, this will tell us that we are not doing it the right way. So we removed the command line with experimental. We target the node L2. We run that, and now let's do listconfig. So to use the command that did a change in that release, and we have it. So it is set to true in the node 2, and the source is we have the path of the config files with the line. So really handy. So now, as we stop the two nodes, we no longer are connected. So list peers, L1 list peers. It did reconnect. Okay, so it did reconnect by itself to the node. Maybe it's normal. I don't know when I was trying. So, but anyway, something that we can see that now the features had changed. So let's go and go for the splice. Okay, list one, L1 CLI list fund. And so we are going to use that channel. So let's just we take that channel, we put that here so we can use it when we need it after. Go back to our terminal, and let's fund the PSBT that we discussed before with that magic number 166. So it's not a magic number for those who understand, but it's not my case right now. So we have that PSBT that we see at the top, and now we init the splice. So L1 CLIs -k is to be able with Lightning CLI command line. It's to pass argument, command line argument by key pair value, key value pairs, and we start the splice. So splice init, and what do we need to pass? So channel ID. So what is the channel that we want to change? The channel ID. We go back to our node. We have that that channel ID. Then at the next line, so we want relative, I don't know how you say that, relative amount, and we said that we want 100, and this parameter, this argument takes sat, so we don't specify anything at the end, and we want the initial PSBT, which is equal to, so we have it in the output, in the JSON output of the previous one. So let's go there. We passed it, and this is the moment where this is working. So this is a PSBT that now we have to use with splice update, and this will, as far as I understand, so if I'm not correct, so please correct me after in the when there is a transcript in the things we are live, we do what we can, and let's just continue with the slow level function. So that PSBT, we have to pass it to the command line. So let's take that command line that we were using, and we are going to modify it. So we remove that. Now this is going to be called only PSBT. We are going to pass that first PSBT. We no longer need the amount, and we go at the beginning, and this is no longer splice init, but splice update. We go at the end. So lightning-CLI L1-K splice update the channel ID, and then the PSBT that we get from the previous command. We run that, and we have commitment secured. Great. So that means we can continue, and we have also the PSBT that now we have to sign to be able to end up that splice. So let's continue. So now we use L1 CLI -K, and so just one comment in -K. So maybe everything that we are doing is better to it's better and that the software do it, so we don't have to deal with those things. But pay attention that those things, if I'm not wrong, those PSBT are encoded on the base 64, and sometime at the end, as we've seen before, I just told you because it happened in another anyway. So it ended up with a padding character which are equal, and maybe it can disturb Lightning CLI command line. But if we pass -key, there is no problem in the passing of those elements. So don't know if we encounter that, but just we to pay attention. So sign PSBT. So this is the command, the Lightning command, and we have to pass it the PSBT, the signed PSBT that we received from splice_update. So I think that some magic happened with the node L2, and it signed something, it gives us back, commitment are secured, we are all happy, and we sign that one, and no parameter, okay. So PSBT, sorry, so no PSTB. So this work, and now we have the signed PSBT that we can use in the last part of the splice. So the last part of the splice is so almost like the first one, so signed and splice update. So we go there, we keep the channel ID, we just have to change the PSBT, and we change, it's no longer splice update, but splice signed. I wanted to say finish, but it's splice signed, and we have to pass it this one, and this is the moment where we want everything to work. So 1, 2, 3, go. Cool. I'm happy, not because I was adopting, but because sometimes when we are live, it doesn't work the way you want it to work. So it has worked, it returned a transaction and the transaction ID, and now we can BT, so alias BT CLI, that you see that we are running Bitcoin CLI with the data there of the path of Bitcoin and Richter S. So this is an alias that we've used, that has been produced by our first startup Richter S. And now, what do we want to do? So get row mempool. I think this is that, and we see we have one transaction in the mempool. So this is a transaction that will do our splice, and we have to, as we are running ourselves Richter test, nothing happened. We are not mining nothing blocks. We have to do it by hand. So so we are here, and I have some generate address, but I have a cheat sheet at the end, because so I want a new address for the Bitcoin for the default wallet. So get new address. So we have a new address, and now we can use that one. So BT CLI, and we want to this is generate to address. We want six block mined. So let's try if it works. It was the right command to sorry, I didn't. I will do it fast. L1. It works, huh? CLI list funds. Okay, cool. So this is what I wanted to show you. So when, as far as I understand, so the splice is okay. We've done the things, but it's not totally finalized. At least our node is not aware yet. So just one thing. So, see, yes, the information that Lightning, that the node pull from the on-chain are not done every second. So I think it's something like every 20 or 30 seconds. I don't know exactly what it is. So this is why I rush to run that command to show you the state of the channel before CLN get the information from Bitcoin Richter test that tell it, yes, we've mined the 6 block with that transaction that do the splice, and so the channel is spliced. And till that moment, we are in state which is channel D awaiting splice. Okay. So now, if we do that, and now we have a channel which is normal. So this is because now we have the information of from the chain state of the channel. The peer is the same as before, and we can see that the amount has been increased from with 1,000 sat more. Cool, no? So it's cool to do it, but it's cool also to think about the lot of works that have been put in that features, and also in all that software and every people that work on the Lightning. So maybe this is the moment I should have done that at the beginning, but thank you for all the works, the thinking, and the line of code and that are put in this. So this is for the for the splicing, and we have left, maybe we have some question, we see, and we have left, what do we have left? Yes, we have 20 minutes more, so we see what, so, okay, so what can we read? Okay, so, learn me a Bitcoin, technical transaction weight, cool. So we have some information from Vincenzo. So, okay, in it, okay, cool. Thanks, Vincenzo. So yes.
Yeah, it was a little bit confusing also for me, but basically where this feature was used in the init message. Usually all the features are used in the init message, and then also in the node, because you are opening the channel with this feature enabled.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah. So let's move on, continue, and we will give back the mic to Vincenzo, and I let that screen like it is, because we can check something. So if we go back to our note, go back at the beginning. So we did the splicing, and so experimental feature at runtime, splicing, and now taproot P2R addresses. So just before I give you the mic, and it's not to squeeze what you are going to tell, but we can check that address. So this is a list fund, and in the output, this is a wallet, and the channels are before, and we have that address, which is not a beg32, but a P2R. So you have the mic, Vincenzo, so you can tell us how it has been added, why it is cool, anything you want.
Yeah, no, this is a very cool feature, and one of the first steps to include taproot inside the Lightning Network. Basically, taproot was enabled a lot of time ago, I think 1 year ago or more, and this feature enabling Core Lightning be able to create taproot transaction and spend through taproot transaction. There is no protocol change that where we use taproot. We use only at the wallet level right now. But I am if you see the address inside the list funds inside the channel object, I think we are full taproot at the level of address.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, so this is that thing. So we now use taproot change addresses. So when we did the splice, the taproot address has been used, and maybe we can just do one thing to show maybe. So just to recognize at a glance how the prefixes of those addresses. So for Bitcoin mainnet, so BC1P is for P2R addresses and paid to taproot, and beg32 is BC1Q, and this is what I wanted to point here. We have BCRT because we are running on the rec test, but anyway, after the 1 we have the P. What does one thing that means is that we can L1 CLI if we want a new address and we want to send something. Yes, address like that. I think it's like that. We will have a beg32. If we say I want a P2R, we will have a taproot address, and we can also do all. And we have we get addresses for our node, either beg32 or P2R. So that's it for taproot. Let's try to go till the end because there are two things that I would like to mention. So yes, so renepay and the self-payment, and we are done. What can you tell us for renepay, Vincenzo?
Oh yeah, from the renepay, basically we change is an experimental plugin that implements the Rene research about improving the pathfinding around the Lightning Network. Currently, all the implementation are using the basic Dijkstra algorithm without no hacks. Maybe there are some implementations that do more smart stuff, like remember the path that fails before, and all this learning stuff while you are using the algorithm. The renepay is a new idea that use something a little bit more theoretical, I will say, in the sense that we use an algorithm that is the mean cost flow, and we don't use anymore Dijkstra. And I think it's also a probabilistic algorithm. So Eduardo, that was a contributor in this with this plugin, implement all the math under the hood, all the mean cost flow with all the probabilistic algorithm. But renepay is a plugin that need more love and more usage from the people that are using Lightning Network, because we are collecting bug report to improve it. It's an experimental because we don't know how far we can get better, and I think we will get better with this algorithm. But currently there are no open data right on the mainnet. There are simulation, but there are no open data, and correlating is, I think, is the first implementation that implement the full Rene proposal in this plugin. So if someone won't try this new way of pay, I think is a good moment also to report bug report, crash, and yeah. I think a new thing. I think an additional stuff that we need to mention is if the plugin crash, correlating doesn't crash, right? There is no worry about that. So if the plugin crash for any reason, correlating is still running, and you can try the normal payment, right? So I usually, when I try a payment, I usually try renepay. If works, okay. If crash, I will try pay. So I don't know if I had a general idea of what this plugin does.
It's super cool to you presented it, and yes, so try it and see if it works for you or not, better or worse, and please give feedback. And yes, this is a good point to mention that as this is a plugin, so we can. I wasn't going to do that, but as we mentioned, so as something is a plugin, meaning that they run as a sub-process of they are started by Lightning D, and they run as Lightning Light. Okay, so we're going to list the processes that we have. And we have the processes for the two nodes, and we can see that all those ones, they are not all plugins. So those ones that HSMD, ConnectD, GossipD are not plugins, but from this one. So they're the architecture of Lightning D, of Lightning, offer that possibility to have new stuff that run as a sub-process of Lightning D. And so if a sub-process die, if it's not really important, it won't crash the whole thing. And I think if you heard about that paper or the article with the OSS of a channel, it was mentioned that with that architecture, I don't remember, maybe it's channel backup that was done, but the Lightning B was still working without this one. So this is a good opportunity, and this is something that wanted to mention for people that want to the plugin system architecture. It really allow that thing that Eduardo for some reason was interesting in some reason. I don't know the reason, but for that aspect of the Lightning Network, work on it and was able to not be impacted by the development of Lightning itself, and could work on that plugin and without fears to break stuff in Lightning, and the plugin is here. So if you want to add stuff, this is really a good way to do it, and it's super cool. So it's really it's a kind of a user work team, because it involves a research paper, some work here, and yes. So much talking, but let's check how the interface on the much simple way is as pay. We pass it an invoice, and it's okay. So let's see this. We have our channel, our splice channel. The node 2 invoice, we create an invoice maybe with 10,000 SAT. With some random label and a description. As always, I use pizza. So we take the bolt 11, L1 CLI, and now this is what we want to do is renepay. We pass that invoice, and we will see that some probability are calculated, and it's let's be clear, it's use. I don't know if it's useless or not in our case, but it's just that we have one channel, so we are not calculating a route or anything like that. But it's just that if you were using L1 CLI pay, change for renepay or do a try catch if it doesn't work. So whatever you want, and there are other parameters that we can check. So how many times, for instance, retry for, so the amount, the time. No, it's not the time, but if you want to retry to pay, so you can do that. And we are almost done. We have 7 minutes left, and the self payment. So if you want to say something about the self-payment, Vincenzo?
Yeah, this feature is one feature that I requested to Rusty, and I tried to implement, but it's a little bit tricky because this allows core Lightning node to pay an invoice that the same node generates. This doesn't make sense if you think in terms of a single Lightning node or a normal network of Lightning, but this kind of payment are useful in application like Fedimint, where the logic of an invoice have a different meaning. So sometimes an invoice is generated by the same node, but the payment is for any for confirmation of I don't know the reason right now, but there are other reasons and other functionalities that are used on Lightning Network, like Fedimint, but there are also other features that was requesting this kind of payment. So this is just allowing an invoice to be paid by the same node. Not much excitement here, just a self-payment.
Yeah. Cool. So a self-payment app, so we will see that it really work. But I wanted for that thing to mention that you asked for, you wanted that feature too. Fedimint also wanted that feature. So I think that Cody asked for that features. And I remember maybe if I'm not wrong, that Rusty mentioning that that if you have a feature request, maybe in any channel you can ask to reach out the Core Lightning team. But one super cool way to do that, it's just that to join the biweekly open meetings of Core Lightning that happen, that are every other weeks on Mondays at 9 or 10, depending. No, the time doesn't change, but if you are like me in Europe, we change for CET or CEST. So, but anyway, it's the same time every other Monday. It's a good way to learn. So you can just join, tell what you're working on, and maybe if you have some requests for features, you can talk about. It's really a friendly meeting. So please join that meeting. And last little demo before we close. So L2 CLI. Stop it because we don't care about here. It's also to say that the self payment, you don't have to have a channel or anything like that to get it work. L1 and we are going to CLI faster. So we take that one, L1 CLI invoice. Maybe we change it for then label, we don't care, and a pizza. So this is L1 that generate an invoice, and L1 is going right now to do a self payment, CLI pay, and we have it. So we paid that invoice, and maybe L1 CLI list invoices, and we have that invoice description, pizza, and amount received 20,000 SAT. So go back to our note at the top, just cross those things, and maybe we have a few minutes if you have a question to ask, or put some fire. I will put another one up. Thank you for all to come along. Thank you really, Vincenzo, to be there. Thank you, Drew, to host the meeting too. And it was really helpful to have you, Vincenzo, to give us a broader understanding, a deeper understanding of each feature that we've seen today. Thank you. Huh?
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
So, any question in the chat? Hey, Drew, do you think we close this live exploration of Core Lightning 23.08?
I think we close it out. You guys did a fantastic job. Thank you both for coming.
Thank you, Drew.
This. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Yes, just one. Sorry, the end was perfect, but next live session, CLN Rest, check rune, and this is the works done by Shana. So that's it. Bye.
Perfect. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.